Hi, I'm Corey. Welcome to Creating with Scraps. Here is a quick tour of my updated craft room. And the reason for the update, even though my previous room was finished about just under 2 years ago, we had to replace our flooring due to a water leak. And we have they are called seamless floors, so there's no transition between the doorway, the hallway, and the doors or the connecting rooms. So all the floors in the house had to be replaced. And because of that, I decided to make some minor changes to my craft room. And for those of you who may have seen the previous video, you might be looking and thinking, Corey, it's identical. It's not. So what I'll do is I'll highlight the changes. The first and most obvious change is I pushed the front of my desk back about 3 feet. Originally, that section where I actually do my work came out farther so that I could put a queen size air mattress in the space behind the desk so that if we had guests, we had a spot for them. We no longer need that, so it made sense to push it back a little bit and move things around. For example, I'm moving back. I walked in the room, moved to the right, I'm walking back, and the piece up here where I store my Tim Holtz Distress ink pads and some other ink pads and such, that was originally in the far right corner rather than being on the left wall. And this section here was not there. That was a bookcase that was that connector piece that pushed my desk out. And I wanted all of my journals, or most of my journals, in the same spot. Ones that I've made, plus ones that I've been gifted or have purchased. I wanted them all in a similar or the same spot. And that's what that accomplished. And I had left the front of my desk open so that my granddaughter Brett could come craft with me. Well, she lives in Boise, and when we go visit her, we usually visit her there. So she's not here sufficiently enough to craft with me. So I closed that off, and I put my sign, because I've changed wall space, to Creating with Scraps there on the board. And for those that have asked, those are old tools that I have repurposed to make the word scraps. I know some people say it looks like CRAP, but those are supposed to be S's on each end. All right, so that was a change. The top of my desk, it still worked really well as far as having that mini shelf, because it allows me to put the lamp and the clip on. And I got 2 new healthy light lamps, which I'm very pleased with, largely because of the light they produce and the white color that they produce. Plus, I can charge devices right there on them. So I really like that. All right, staying to the right, I made a few minor changes in my craft closet. The biggest change being that I put my trolleys, my art and my die cut trolleys, in the closet. Now I'm creating a shadow because of the light, so I apologize for that. All that really necessitated for me was moving some shelves and cutting some shelves down. I repurposed the way the shelves function a little bit. I did lose the space underneath, which is where I had stored those suitcases. And so I'm not thrilled with where the suitcases are now, but those hold my Scottish memorabilia and items and my daffodil journals. So once I make all 50 of the daffodil journals, those will go elsewhere. But the closet essentially functions the same way. And then that bin right there is things that I need to give away or donate or something along those lines. And so that is essentially the same. That unpainted wooden box is an advent calendar that I would like to work on. So that is pretty much similar. This part changed. Originally, it was the 3/4 inch plywood stack pieces that I had, floor to ceiling. This piece right here, we purchased from Facebook Marketplace, and it was a tax accountant's office or some such, and they were going out of business, and I really wanted the paper storage because my paper was crammed into things. And so I keep my washi and my metal embellishments and buttons and such, all the metal charms and Tim Holtz things down on this, and it allowed me to sort my paper. Now, to some people that might be ridiculously tidy, and others might think it's a mess. But everything has a place, and I really liked the additional storage that provided. One thing that I wasn't able to put in here is my old sewing machine, and I didn't use it. It was basically for decorative purposes anyway. And then the paper storage on top I had already had, and that was in my previous craft room, but on the opposite wall. I shouldn't say craft room, it's the same craft room. I just reconfigured the space. And then the shelving unit that had previously been down closer to this closet, I pushed down to that end since I took the art bins, the 2 trolleys and then the art shelf off. And what I did here, this used to be where I stored my Ravenclaw items and then just a shelf. What I did here is I decided I wanted all of my sewing machine drawers, which I use to store a variety of ephemera, but all of my vintage sewing machine drawers, I really wanted on this piece. And then I sorted them based on what was in it and the type. So here, all the sewing machine drawers with rings, they're all on this side. The top is essentially the same. I've moved a few things around. There are my Harry Potter figurines that were gifted to me that I absolutely love. They're the Harry Potter Lego ones. I do have some more journals and smaller pieces right here. All of those bins down below are linens and lace. Usually like tablecloths and linens and that kinds of things. Dies, metal dies, alphabet stamps, those are there. And then the sewing machine drawers that had the knob rather than the ring are all on this side. And I do really like having the like drawers with each other, and they're all essentially in one spot. They're no longer in my closet. That is very handy. Because I took this unit all the way down to the wall, it kind of changed my configuration here. And I have some old cutter quilts. Now these are like pieces of quilts that can be used for other things, journal covers, pillows, that type of thing. And I stored them right here simply because, well, I could. And I really like them. They make me happy. Sorry, I had to straighten that out a bit. This is a change. This bookcase, I added some legs to it so that it would stand up off the vent. So if we do turn the heat on, it'll warm up the room. And most of my old spools, my cotton spools that I've loaded with lace are here in this section. The window, word of the year. This year, 2024, it was rediscover, finding old treasures that I needed and wanted to use. And that really happened when I redid my room. Determined was the year before. And this, I don't know if I'm going to go with those old print style letters or not. I don't have all of them yet, but I'm thinking appreciate for 2025, though that's not a done deal yet. Curtain is essentially the same. Sorry, I can't go back any farther because of the size of the room. Let's see if I can zoom out a bit and help, if that helps. Maybe. All right, so this is the same piece that was on this wall previously. It's just pushed down to the corner. In the past, it wasn't quite that far down. And I took out a section here that had pushed my desk forward. I took out that section and swung it to the front. So it's a little snugger in here. I don't have quite as much space, but I have more than enough. And this clear runner on the floor is so that I don't carve up the new LVP. And I'm very pleased with the function of this. I'm pleased with how this is working. I've got some taller books that I was able to store there and just kind of reconfigured things. I still have my bins for the different types of scrap paper that I use. I put my Ravenclaw shelf up here just, because I really wanted it. I've got most of my vintage books stored together now, which I really like because I had them all over the place before. A bin of in-process things and some other enamelware bins that I use. I am going to take part in a collaboration in January that talks about organizing your craft space. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail then about why I chose to set my workstation, my desk area up the way I did. And I'll detail that a little bit more then. But for now, this is what works really well for me. I spilled some of the Gorilla Glue on the front of my desk and I messed up my beautiful glass mat, but I'm hoping I can get that fixed. Anyway, those are the OT lights, and you can see they do push light down, but I can push them straight out and I get less of a glare, and I'm finding it makes my eyes less tired, which is really nice. This is a free-floating bookshelf piece that fits underneath this arm. Now this arm it goes up and down so that I don't have to have my sewing machine there if I choose not to, and it gives me more of an open space, like if somebody were to come craft with me or what have you, so I can move that. But I did cut it down because the desk was further forward. It was too long and impeded the walking space. So I did cut that down and push it back a little bit, but it works just fine, and it makes me more intentional about what I have there. One thing that might be different from my desk, maybe and other people's, is I used, because there is a bookcase underneath the leg area. It's still receded further back. I don't know how you can tell, but it's still like a foot plus back. But I store my large paper trimmer there and my metal garbage can, Tim Holtz trimmer, longer rulers and such. And the reason I do that is they're still handy. I can reach for them, but they're completely out of the way too. They don't get in my legs' way when I'm sitting, and they're not out taking up desk space, which to me was a big deal. Another new thing is this really, really cool old Tonka truck. Now, I know it's not for everybody, and I was kind of surprised when I fell in love with it, but I am a truck person through and through. I drive trucks. I'm a teacher, but personal vehicle. I have a couple Ram trucks, and I saw that and I just had to have it, and I absolutely love it on my desk. I get it's not for everybody, but it just makes me happy. And this is a J.K. Rowling quote. I believe Dumbledore says it, if memory serves me right, but I saw that and it just made my heart happy, so I put it in the truck, and there you go. All right, so this is my new craft room. It's certainly not for everybody. But I guess the premise or principle of it and why it works well for me is because, one, I know where everything is, and two, it's situated for how I craft or how I create. And I think that's probably one of the hardest things for new crafters, because they haven't established a crafting pattern for themselves yet. They don't know what they need near them, what they need far away. But once you've been doing it a little bit a while, you get an idea for the flow that works best for you. And this flow works really well for me. People ask me frequently how I'm able to get so much done with limited time. And it's because I am not a fast crafter in any way, shape, or form. But my workstation works for me, not against me. And I think that plays a big role. Oh, one of the things I'm going to zip around, that's the door. Moving around, that's my husband and I. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. I'm trying to go slow. One thing that I had on the other side by the door that I moved that I absolutely loved was my receipt bin. Because of the change configuration, it didn't fit on the other side any longer, but I still like the ease of putting a receipt in this lace basket, or lace bag, I should say, as soon as I purchase something. And it makes it easier for taxes. And so I just moved it to the new paper organizer piece. And I, again, really like having it. So there you go. I had mentioned that I'm a teacher. I teach 5th grade this year, and I've taught many grades. But I'm really lucky. In my class, we have 12 different primary languages spoken in the homes of my children. And I love teaching about culture and different traditions around the world and unique customs and holidays and such that make a group of people part of a culture. And one of the things we do in the winters, we study winter holidays around the world. And one of them is Jolabokaflod. And I apologize if you're from Finland and I'm saying that wrong. But basically it means Christmas book flood. And the premise behind it, as I understand it, is that family members give each other a new book on Christmas Eve, and then they sit around eating chocolate or drinking chocolate and reading, enjoying each other's time. And reading is probably my favorite thing to do, along with cycling and crafting, but reading is way up there. And I try hard to instill that love of reading in my students. So each year I do Jolabokaflod and with the kids, and I give them chocolate, and we have a day where they get a new book and we eat chocolate or drink chocolate and we read. And so that leads me to my next piece. In the past, I've done fundraisers for things for my students. And I realized that these are all completed ephemera bits. This entire bin is a variety of scrapbuster type ephemera bits. Whether it's belly bands or books, little mini books or bookmarks or all the things. This is my list, and if you've watched my videos, you know those are the things I make when I have scrap bits. And this entire bin is full. Oh, there went that. Sorry about that. That was just a fake flower vintage glass thing, but it didn't break, so we're okay. Anyway, those are both full. And then if I come down here, I've got some work in progress pieces in this bin. And then these are all scrap clusters that just need a label and a flower or a face. And where are they? They're under here. These are all completed clusters. All of those are completed clusters. Because when I just have a few minutes and I need to create to de-stress, those are the things I do. And this is my work in progress bin on things that, like the Christmas collaboration with Rachel and Bella, and the Creeply Halloween with Tracy that I need to finish, and some other bits. A Jibidneri journal that I'm working on. Anyway, my point is I will never, ever get all of those completed bits into journals. I just haven't the time to do it. So what I'm thinking of doing is this. And if it's a crazy idea, just tell me and I'll go with plan B. I no longer do Etsy for a variety of reasons. Largely, it's in support of other crafters and the challenges that they have had. So I'm thinking I will put in this my email address. If you send me an email, and again, I'll put that in here in the description box. If you send me an email and say, I am interested in supporting Jolabokaflod, what I'll do, you're not purchasing anything per se, but it would be like a donation. So let's say you donate $5. I will send you a scrap cluster or two, and then one of those completed bits of ephemera. And in your email, if you send me your address and your name, and if you've got a color preference, like I like primarily pinks or purples or blues or neutrals, or I got a lot of neutrals, but blues, greens, whatever it is that you like, if you let me know what you like, I will do my best to honor that. And as a thank you for supporting Jolabokaflod, I will send you a couple pieces. Most likely, again, a scrap cluster and one of the completed pieces. If it's a really tiny piece, I'll probably put 2 pieces in there. I don't know how well that'll work. I probably won't be able to get back to people, as soon as they email me. It might be a couple days, so please forgive me if that's the case. But I think that'll work. And then I'll send you my address and you can send me an envelope with a check, or you can, my husband has Zelle, you can Zelle or Venmo or whatever. And then I will mail you something. I will mail you an envelope with the pieces in it. So I'm thinking like $5 will get you 2 to 3 pieces, including mailing, depending on, again, the size of the pieces and such. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. I want to do something positive with that, and I know that I'm never going to get through all of those. Plus, I really like creating scrap pieces when I have time, and I kind of have to challenge myself to use the ones I've already completed prior to making more. So anyway, there's my thought. My email address will be in the description box, and I will guarantee delivery by, let's say, I have a couple days off at Thanksgiving. So before December 1st, I guarantee delivery as long as I receive it. So when I receive an envelope from you with your mailing address and your color preference and your donation, whatever that may look like, then I will send something out to you. That's kind of how I'm thinking it'll work. Don't know if it's a great idea or not, but we'll find out. If you have any questions about what or how I created, again, none of my furniture is finely crafted pieces of furniture. This is ripped down 3/4 inch plywood and ripped down 2x4s that I used for the trim. I mean, it's simple. You could make this yourself easily. If you have Home Depot or Lowe's cut your wood for you, all you would really need is a drill and a driver to put things together, and maybe a nail gun or a brad nailer of some sort to put the trim up. And you wouldn't even have to use trim. I liked the dark because it let the antiques shine through, and that's what I was wanting, but it would work with the IKEA furniture or white furniture that you get at craft stores or such. So again, if you've got questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'll do my best to answer any questions, hopefully in a timely manner. But that's it for now. I've got another video with Rachel coming out on the 18th, and then I'm joining Tracy's December Daily collaboration in early December. And then I've got some other things planned, plus the Organizing Your Craft Area Space collaboration in early January. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're all well, and please know that you are appreciated. All the support that you've given me in this craptastic year has been wonderful. Thank you. Take care and happy creating.